Welcome. This is Chala Dinkoy, CEO and founder of the Repositioning Expert. Welcome you to another one of our talk series for the promotion of our EXCELerate 2024 conference next week. Can you believe it? April 24th to the 26th at the Pan Pacific Hotel in Vancouver. It is a gathering of minds that are jaw-dropping to me as I do this interview series. I mean, seriously, these are thought leaders. These are former politicians. These are physicians and doctors and inventors and scientists and spiritual leaders. I'm just blown away by the lineup, and I bring you one of the most esteemed in the lineup. She is our keynote speaker for one of the main events. And I present to you Dr. Sister Jenna. And I think I said it wrong, Sister Dr. Jenna. And I knew I could.
Hey, listen, I'm just a really peaceful and loving soul. That's the best introduction you could ever give
Yeah,
me.
for sure. So let me just talk a little bit about who you are for our listeners. Founder and director and spiritual leader of the Brahma Kumaris, which is a spiritual university. And we just talked about that you started a meditation museum in Washington, D.C., which is like not just the capital, but the capital of museums, in my opinion. And author, TV and radio host, and what else? My God, the President's Lifetime Award. You have to talk about that one. And I don't know which president, but I'm intrigued. And
Barack Obama.
oh, yes, yes. And the biggest, of course, bigger than all of that is the picture that I saw you hugging Oprah.
Ah, yeah,
Bigger
that's when
than-
oh yeah, I was at her house for dinner. We worked on an event for her Believe series.
Well, that you don't
Yeah.
you don't even have to say anything else. So welcome, welcome, and tell us, first of all, how you got into all of this. What happened?
Well, firstly, thank you for doing this. I know that you and the crew and Barbara and everyone have been working so tirelessly to have the Excel conference bring the best minds together.
Yeah.
And it's a challenging time after pandemic, because people have gotten so comfortable with sitting in their own comforts, and maybe
Mhm.
they're also just looking for a way out. I don't know.
Mhm.
And when you organize programs like this to help to motivate and bring the right people together so people can move forward with their agenda and their gifts and talents, it takes a little bit of like pulling teeth, you know, to get people in the room. But I really hope everyone who gets to see this that, you are motivated and inspired to get off of the couch or off of the chair and come and join us on the 24th and the 26th. So my parents actually, my mom's African Jamaican, my dad's Indian. And for some reason, they got together, they had me. I was born in Kingston, Jamaica. I left there when I was about 4 or 5 to the US, where I was raised in Miami and New York, and now in Washington for the last 26 or 27 years. And my mother was especially an inspiring figure for me because she was orphaned at 7 years old and in orphanages. And she would take care of her younger sisters who were going to be violated by not very kind men.
Mm.
And so my mother would protect those little girls. And unfortunately, she got violated at a young age. But she felt the courage that she protected her younger sisters. And
Right.
that was more important to her. So here I am raised with this really strong African woman who's a mess emotionally and mentally. And then I'll be with my father who's all put together, the perfect Indian man.
Mm.
So I just got a chance to see the world from various lenses of life and experience. So when she got involved with meditation, spirituality, yoga, with the Brahma Kumaris, within 6 months, I actually saw a woman that was shattered, healed, and
Mm.
was healing. And so that inspired me. And there was one particular moment. Mother was walking from the kitchen to our prayer room called the Baba's room. And she was taking a plate of food, which she cooked every day. And before she would offer the food to us, the family, she would take this plate of food to Baba's room. And Baba was this image of bright light, this pure light, this
Mhm.
essence of Baba's light. And then she would have the face of Brahma Baba, who founded the Brahma Kumaris. And she would take the food in. And as I saw her walking from the kitchen to the prayer room, she was just like an angel. There was just light everywhere around her. I'm seeing it right now. And I was running downstairs and I just turned and I looked and I said, oh, I'm going to be like that when I grow up. And I just went.
Wow.
I remember that moment so clearly, Jella, that
Wow.
it really sticks clear in my heart. And I'm not quite sure what was in that moment. Started my own nightclubs and had a great time. And then I got called for service and things changed a lot. But I got involved because of the influence of my parents. That's
Mm.
how I got into this.
I mean, what a dichotomy between this, seeing the light and growing up through this transformation of your mom and then going into the nightlife, right? Which is such a stark, dichotomy. And then what was the trigger to go back into spirituality?
Well, I don't know if I was ever coined spiritual. I think we're all born with that spiritual essence.
Yeah.
And that is you're fearless. There's a creativity that flows through you. There's a kindness, there's a warmth, there's a love, there's an innocence. But then relationships, circumstances, situations shift that innocence.
Mhm.
And I'm not quite sure if I ever left it, but I would never coin myself as spiritual. But even till today, my friends who knew me back in the day, they would say, we always knew you were going to do something like this for humanity.
Mhm.
And I don't understand what souls actually see in us
Mhm.
because you might be drinking, smoking, partying, but yet there's the essence of who you are that's in you. Now, I started my first company at 16
Okay.
and I had friends and we were putting together souvenir items to promote to the Caribbean islands because some of my friends were very wealthy. And I found out that my friends were so lazy. Nobody was getting up to make the deliveries, to get everything together. And sure enough, I would make sure that things would reach to wherever it needed to reach on time.
Wow. You were the logistics for the rich, lazy friends.
Maybe that entrepreneurship was still in me and did very well in my early 20s. And I think that light shone so deep in my subconscious, it just popped me open to say, look, just take a look more. So a nightclub and an ashram is no different other than the quality. So in a nightclub, there are people that are coming to be happy. In an ashram, people are coming to be happy. In a nightclub, you have to make a lot of money with the alcohol and the gate. In an ashram, you earn a lot of blessings by how many people you serve. Yes, it's run by donations, but you're not thinking about profit. The
Mhm.
money that comes into the ashram is to keep building and growing so more people can be served. In a nightclub, a lot of people came in with problems. In an ashram, many people coming in problems. You get what I'm saying now?
There's a big parallel.
And so in the nightclub, you drink alcohol to be intoxicated. In an ashram, you listen to spiritual wisdom and you become intoxicated.
Mm.
So the only thing that changed for me was the quality of the way that I was living. Isn't that
Uh-huh.
amazing?
So when you say quality, do you mean like the lack of sleep and the nutrition or, the
Yeah,
environment?
all of that is included. And my consciousness, it was like from those days, the consciousness was what's in it for me. Now,
Mm,
in my days, is what's in it for us.
mm,
Does that
mhm.
make sense?
Yeah, so I'm just fascinated by this. There's this huge splitting of spirituality versus making money in the world, right? And so you've made both. And so where do you stand on that? What do you think about that whole thing?
I think poverty is a sin.
Hmm.
I think if you don't have enough money, your mindset is focused on what you don't have. There's a lack, and that's not spirituality.
Mm.
I know that in religion and in certain situations or settings, and this is even hardwired in our brain as people that anyone that is spiritual are supposed to all walk around like Mother Teresa and Jesus
Mhm.
or the Buddha.
Yeah.
There's that mindset in us. And even if somebody is spiritual and they're driving a Rolls Royce, I have a good friend in Thailand, and she's the head of a Buddhist monastery, and she's got the top of the line Rolls Royce and everything, but it has been an investor in business as well as meditation. And her whole thing is to meditate and to make millions.
Mm-hmm.
She says, if you don't have money, then how are you going to help the people that you love? It's just that we have to find the balance. Sometimes we become super spiritual and don't follow the responsibilities that we have to offer to keep the bills going, to earn the income. And then sometimes the scale gets tipped and we end up running after the money to pay the bills and we lose ourselves. So, what I have done for me, I don't forget that I, as a soul, my investment is in my emotional well being. That's first and foremost. If I'm going to be an effective leader and if I'm going to inspire many others, I need to have an emotional state within me that's solid. That's
Mm-hmm.
solid. So I feel that people who invest in their spiritual well being are some of the greatest leaders,
Yeah.
and the finances flow, but they're
Yeah.
not really worried about that. It comes. It
Yeah.
comes.
I love it. So, can you give us a tiny synopsis of the message that you'll be giving us at the conference?
Well, I want to focus on the faces of a woman and how she goes through a journey from innocence to tradition to modern to an Indian term that we call the Shakti, woman who keeps taking energy from God's light into her being, and she just slays any demon that comes in front of her. What are demons? Anger, lust, greed, attachment, and ego. That's blocking us from our financial abundance. It's blocking us from having good relationships. It's blocking us from having health. It's blocking us from having a positive state of mind. And so I want to focus on the role of women and men, how we are going through such a transformation at this time, but
Mhm.
also how to look at the powers that are within us that now we need to activate these powers in order to make our companies thrive.
Mhm.
And here's one of the biggest mysteries. Many of us are not aware that vibrationally, who we are as a person, we attract that into our lives.
Mhm.
And so, as a person, whether it's a woman or a man, if there's an energy within you that the world is yours, the universe owes me everything, it's going to just give me so much, then you never know who's going to call you right now.
How do you see the world? You talked about how, the men and women relationship in general in these times. And I see not just the women and men, but just in general, the world becoming more spiritual, like just more aware. I see it going better. And yet, like, there's so much evidence that it isn't. What are your thoughts about that?
If you watch the news, you would think it's coming to an end,
Right? Yes.
especially here in Washington, D.C., in New
Exactly.
York. It's like there's such a focus on one man. And I've asked myself and God the question, what is in this one soul that the whole world is on eggshells? You
Mhm.
know, I don't have an answer yet.
Mhm.
Um, on one level, I think you're right. On one level, I think that we are becoming better. There's a handful of us. I don't think we get enough amplification or enough visibility. I think what gets visible is all the negatives,
Mhm.
and it can condition you to give up on life. But yeah, it's going to get better. There's no doubt in my mind. Programs like what we're doing with EXCELerate, it's getting better. The thing is, sometimes we get so weak, Chala, we don't know how to step up and be better. So we need somebody to hold our hand temporarily until we can walk on our own.
Yeah, I love it. So what advice do you have in parting words to people who are watching us?
Please don't waste your time. Life is too valuable. Religion, spiritual people, conferences, and programs are there to help you, to somehow nudge you to start to believe in how worthy you are. The only reason why we go to them is that there's something in us that still questions our capacity, our potential, and our worth. Check them out. See them for a while. You don't have to use them as a clutch, but they are there to help you to awaken to your true worth and your true power. The reason why I said yes to EXCELerate, it's not only because it's a women's empowerment thing, which will offer a lot of voices for the males too. When I'm in a gathering of people who want to be better, who want to build their companies, build their careers, build relationships with good people, we need to be surrounded by more good than we see on the evening news. And that's my closing remark. Don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. Live fully, because if not now, then when?
Wonderful. Thank you so much. And folks, for those of you who are watching, please come and see us in person or live stream. Sister Jenna's going to be there April 25th. She'll be hosting the gala reception at 8 p.m. She is our keynote speaker with our dinner if you're there in person. And I personally cannot wait. I've interviewed so many people for this series, but like just your presence alone makes me feel more peaceful. It just, calms me. And I'm a pretty calm person to begin with. So thank you so much.
Chala, that's where we all need each other. And so the more that we reach out, you never know who we're going to bump into that just makes our life a better version. Our EXCELerate conference will definitely have that too. And that's why we need to get out, get off of the couch, get out of our comfort zones, be inspired. I want to meet somebody who's going to change my life. That's what will happen at the EXCELerate conference. So we're looking forward to definitely seeing you there. Just don't waste your life now. There are going to be some really splendid folks there.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.